Hey, it's Mark Anthony Ramirez again. Um yeah, okay, so at the beginning of things seemed not normal. And how I can explain the beginning of things, well, before I used to go to work, I used to or in the mornings I would like wake up, meditate, drink a cup of coffee, and afterwards I would watch YouTube. And whenever I would watch YouTube, I used to watch the old videos that Sandra Lee had on her page. And I think it was like after going through the videos and getting towards like the last one that I noticed that for some reason the video ended and it was a different video. And at first I was okay with it and it didn't bother me. And then like it just seemed strange, and like I thought nothing of it or whatever at first. Then the following day it was kind of the same thing. I watched YouTube and another video started playing, and these videos, it felt like they were very private, and they pretty much like, I felt like it wasn't supposed to be talked about. And I'm talking about it now because again I feel like my life is in danger and I'm constantly being harassed. Um, the videos, though, the first one, let's see, how can I explain it? I don't remember exactly the first one, but I do remember one of the videos was like of a elder gentleman, and he was like strapped to a table. And in the video, like at first it looked like they were just, regular pimple poppings and stuff like that. So that's why it didn't bother me. I wasn't questioning it, didn't think nothing of it. Well, after a while, like 7 minutes in, or seven plus minutes in, I checked the timestamp and it said it was like a 15-minute video. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Nothing really new there. So I was like, all right, I'll just keep watching it. And after time had passed, I got a little curious and I was like, this video is a little long. And I pressed it again and it was like 18 plus or something like that in minutes. And I was like, that kind of exceeds the time it said. This isn't right. Well, um, the following day, or I think it was the following day or the next day, that I was going, watching YouTube again, and next thing I know, there's like a video of, it's like you could tell, like to me you could tell it was a live feed, because it was like this person sitting in a chair. It was, I want to say it was a black woman, and she wasn't strapped to the chair, but she was sitting there, and the camera was like on her forehead, and I was like, okay, um, this is interesting. It's something different. I didn't know if it was a new video or something, so I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just check it out. And next thing I know, I ended up getting a phone call. So I answer my phone, and like I carry on with the conversation, and like I forget all about the video. After the phone call, I put my phone in my pocket, and I'm talking to this other gentleman, and after like a minute or two, or probably a minute, like a minute and a half, or I'm not sure how long, but me and that gentleman, we started hearing voices, and we was like, where's it coming from? We look around, didn't see nobody, there was nobody outside, and then it clicked in my head, your phone. And so I was like, okay. And so I pull out my phone, and like I put the phone to my ear, and I'm like, hello? And they're like, yeah, hello. And I was like, well, who is this? I didn't want to be rude and pretty much like act like a very rude person. So I was like, who is this? I was like, they were like, you know who this is? I was like, no, who is this? And they were like, you're watching my video right now. And I was like, wait a minute. So I clicked my phone and it was still on the home screen, the lock screen. It wasn't during the call duration or anything like that. And I unlocked the phone and the video was still playing. So apparently my phone had been hacked. And like I kind of started watching the video again. I wasn't sure what was going on. I don't know what had happened up to that point, but I looked at the time and I realized that I had to get ready for work. So I went inside and gave the phone to my my roommate, and I told her to check out that video for me. Let me know what it was like and stuff like that. And well, I end up taking it like after I got out of the shower and ready for work. She hands me my phone, and she was like, "Oh well, your that video ended." And I was like, "Oh okay." And I was like, I was like, "What was it?" And she was like, "Oh nothing, something about an old video, or it was a one of the videos I had already seen." So I was like, okay. And it made me curious, like what was going on, how did that happen? So I think like the following day or later on that day, I went through like the history on YouTube. That video wasn't there. The other video wasn't there. And I was like, well, this is kind of strange. I was like, they don't make no sense. And I didn't really make nothing of it, so I just kind of let it go. And then, well, it was like a few days later that I was in my room and I walked to the mirror and, I put my hands together and pretty much giving thanks to God. Well, right after I did that, I made a cross, a cross like this. And in the mirror, okay, in the mirror, my hands did not move. Like my one hand stayed like this, but it didn't move. And it really weirded me out. And it didn't move again until I brought my hands back to like I was praying. And it really like freaked me out. And like, um, it really like startled me, I guess. Really, it didn't really strike fear in me, but it startled me. So I started backing up and I thought I did something wrong to God. So I looked at the light bulb, and to me it was like a representation of, the light, Jesus Christ, because he is the light of the world. And I started apologizing, saying that I'm sorry God, I'm sorry God, I'm sorry God. Well, little did I know that at that time it was when Sandra Lee had sent a demon to apparently attach itself to me. But at that time, I don't think she knew that I was a born again Christian. And if she did, I guess she was already with the satanic thoughts or whatever, the satanic desires of trying to corrupt a Christian. So it threw me off. Like I really thought nothing of it. I didn't know it was her at the time. So I was just like, maybe it was just a random occurrence. So I just shrugged it off. But given some time later, I ended up leaving from that apartment, and I was somewhat homeless. I didn't want to rely on my grandma or anyone else, so I slept in the woods. And that night in the woods, I clearly remember Sandra Lee's voice telling me, "Get up and go to your grandma's." And I was like, in my head, I was like, no, because if y'all come from my family, I'm not gonna let it happen. So, you know what I'm saying? I slept in the woods. That night, I also heard 3 people die. One had his throat cut, one got his head hit with a bat, and the other one got shot. I'll post more later.